Well, Paul, that is a very good 3 points against a very good Portsmouth side.
Yeah, Andrew, I'd echo that sentiment. I think they are a very good footballing side. They knock the ball around very, very well. They've got a good, strong squad. Unfortunately, they went down to 10. But we know what that's like. We've had it a number of times this season. But yeah, a good side, and for us, that's a really good 3 points.
And before we discuss the actual performance and the result, I mean, sometimes a team going down to 10 robs a crowd of a very good contest. But actually, it didn't, did it? Because Portsmouth was still strong even with 10. It was a good contest throughout, and I think a very healthy 235 crowd were thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, no, I think it was 90 minutes of quality ladies football today. Personally, I mean, they adapted their game a little bit, obviously, when they went down to 10, but they still carried a threat all the way through the game, and we had to be, on our game. We had to be focused. At times, we didn't protect the ball well enough, and gave them a little bit too much on the ball. But beyond that, as I said, it was a good 90 minutes of football.
A word then for Emma Pleur. She hasn't had much football, 90 minutes or otherwise, in a little while, but she comes into the team. Scores 2 goals, creates the first, wins player of the match, and all-round brilliant display. She showed really what she's capable of.
Yeah, well, you don't get 25 plus caps for your country if you haven't got the type of talent that Emma's got. And Emma again showed what she can do today. As you said there, she's a different level when she's firing, and as you quite rightly said, she hasn't had that many starts this year. We're absolutely delighted to get her back, and I know the ladies are, and she gives us another very, very effective and potent force in the wide areas. We've got a number, and she's one of them.
You made a few changes for this one. I know you wanted to freshen things up because you felt perhaps performances hadn't been quite right, despite the fact you were picking up results. Justified, I suppose, with those changes, particularly obviously Emma coming in. Charlotte Young did very well in midfield, and good performances from the other players coming in as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, it's, as I've said to you, Andrew, a number of times in these interviews, you've got to have a quality and a depth in a squad, to achieve the types of ambitions that we've got. So players came in today. There was some tactical changes in there with. Obviously, Charlotte coming into that central area just to give us a little bit more rigidity there, a little bit of a player that would hold and control things, release Naomi a little bit more. Emma, we've spoken about. I thought Sam Pittock, really, that's her first start again since the beginning of the season. She'll get better and better, sharper and sharper. Overall, delighted, really.
And with Watford not playing, any positive result was going to put you above them today, but you're back on top of the third tier of women's football, and Crawley Wasps continue to be in the ascendancy at the moment. You must be very pleased.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably less worried about the league position, more worried about the performance today. As we've said, for me that was a solid 90 minutes performance from us. The work rate was right, the effort was right. The game management at times was better than we've been doing in some recent games, and we in the final third probably fired better than we've done for quite a number of games. So that's not necessarily to do with the personnel. It's just to do with the fact that, as I've said, it's come together on the day. Obviously, Emma's a factor in that quite clearly.
And just finally then, 3 cup games coming up. We'll find out the identity of your Women's FA Cup opponents on Monday. We're obviously recording this immediately after the game, as viewers can see. But you've got Sussex County Cup next week, and then the week after that your League Cup campaign continues against Portsmouth. That may well be, I suppose, depending on what side the two sides put out, maybe a different game. I don't know if this has any bearing on that.
Well, I mean, obviously our first priority then is the game next week against New Haven, which I think, I spoke to Jade earlier on, and both of us as clubs have, with the weather, haven't perhaps had the level of games that we've wanted in recent weeks.
Jay Sadler that you're referring to.
Jay, yeah. So, from my point of view, next Sunday is an important game for us, from the point of view of actually getting the minutes into the players, and keeping a consistent pattern of play and keeping us at the level where we need to be. I think the following week, where we've got Portsmouth again, that's going to be another very, very tough game. Could go either way because they've got a very good squad. What we've got to be as competitive as we are today. in that game.
And what's remarkable, I think, given your success in the league, back-to-back promotions, but equally in the last 2 seasons, you've reached a Sussex Challenge Cup final, you've reached the 4th round of the Women's FA Cup, and you've reached the final of the National League Cup. So you're not trading one off for another. You're not concentrating on the league. You're not just a cup team. You're not an on-the-day team. You're turning it in, week week out.
Yeah, again, I think that's part of the ability to do that, is having a depth of squad. I mean, all of those tournaments and competitions that you've mentioned are important. We'd like to have an excellent run again in the FA Cup for all the reasons that around what a fantastic day it was last season with Arsenal. The FA Women's National League Cup again is a priority for us. Yes, the league is the number one priority, but that is also a priority to do well again in that competition. We had a fantastic run to the final last year. And the County Cup, we've been in 3 finals, and again, I'd like to get that one further stage and get over the line in that one. So, yeah, with the squad that we've got, it provides us also with the opportunity to keep enough player time for that squad with successful runs in all of those competitions.
Paul, well done today. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew.